Okay, so we're starting. That's weird if I do that. Hey guys, all right, let me see if I can switch this to this because I'm gonna be here for a while. Should have this better planned out. Hold on, sorry, give me a second. Screw it, I'll hold it. How y'all doing? I just wanted to, first of all, thank you guys for joining. Those Kanye's comments got me sort of like thinking about, do people really believe that? Do people really believe that slavery was a choice? Do people really believe that more could have been done? Sorry, I'm having bad Wi-Fi here for a second. Let me see. All right. Sorry about that. So I'm just trying to figure out if we as a country really believe that slavery was a choice, and if it was, whose choice was it? I think it was the colonizers' choice, and it happened to be a choice that happened over and over and over and over again by their descendants. So I just want to open up the discussion, open up the dialogue, because I think what Kanye was getting at was that he's trying to say that black people have a slave mentality, and that some of us are still caught up in a slave mentality, so we have trouble-free thinking. And I would say that that's not only true for black people, but that's true for many people, regardless of your color. And frankly, I think that he's right when it comes to a mentality being enslaved, and he should have said it that way, regardless of what he meant. He didn't, and that's problematic. And we have to deal with that. So, here's the thing: if your body and your being, and you know that your children's being is going to be enslaved, you know that, right? Then your psyche becomes enslaved, and your emotional availability becomes enslaved, and eventually every single thing but your soul is enslaved. And that is where we are today. Like, it's intergenerational. You had 400 years of bondage of the body, 400 years of the bondage of people's emotional currency, 400 years of bondage of capture. I think I got to move because of this Wi-Fi. But I think that we're still in this place of mental bondage because of what happened to my ancestors, what happened to our ancestors. So I just kind of want to open up the floor to a discussion with anybody. Anybody, if you have a story, first of all, let's start there. Or if you have a comment or a question. Most of us are pretty ignorant about the slave trade and how it went down, and the fact that it was mainly private corporations that were behind this, and they were publicly traded corporations, and that, this was a commodity. This was like trading lumber or spices or gold. Trading human beings was like that. So, and we did it for a really long time in this planet. And we still do it. So it's not a choice for the people who are kidnapped. It's a choice for the people who are doing it. And let's start that conversation. Does anybody want to join me? Anybody want to join? Let's see here. Thank you very much, Livy Walsh. Does anybody want to talk about that they have a racial bias? that they have a racial bias against black or brown people, and they don't know why. This is a safe place. This is a place where you can talk about that kind of thing. Just join me. It's all good. And I want to ask you questions about why. Maybe we can get to the bottom of it here today. Maybe we can get to the bottom of why you might feel that way. And I think it's important that we have this conversation. Also, if you have a question or comment about what it's like to be black in America, and you're black or brown in America, and you're not a black or brown person from this country, or you're not a black and brown person period, and you want to know what that experience is like, this is a forum for that too. So let's talk about that. Anything that you guys want to talk about. I just want to make sure that I'm not controlling the discussion. So I want someone to join me. And I see a lot of the comments. Let's try to keep it off of Kanye, because he's not the point. He's not the point. He's never going to be the point. He's a great musician. It's fantastic. But it's not the point of this conversation. The point of the conversation is to open up the dialogue between different races so that we can understand each other better. So I would love for somebody to join me. I don't care what race you are. It doesn't matter. Just somebody join me. Anybody? And I know, look, okay, the comments made me angry too. But let's get past that anger and get to the healing part of this. And I respect your anger and I appreciate your anger. And it made me angry, but it's also angry. Anger makes me inspired. Okay, I know what I'm asking somebody to do is really hard, so I'll start. America is really effective at PR. We are the land of dreams. We are the place where you can go and anything can happen, and anybody can be successful based on the content of their character and based on their work ethic, right? Not true. So I'll tell you a story. My great-grandmother, who was raised by her grandmother, who was a slave, she was 15 years old. She was 15 years old, and she was in Savannah, Georgia, and she was mixed race. She was part black, she was part Native American, and she was part white. And her brother, who happened to be a few years older than her, got in trouble because this white lady liked him. And back in those days, that was a death sentence. And he had to go escape in the middle of the night because the Ku Klux Klan came to their house, and I think they burned part of the house, and they were trying to kill him, and he wasn't there. So they spared the rest of the family, luckily, or I wouldn't even be here. But then my great-grandmother went looking for him because she missed him. And wow, this is tough. And she was 15 years old. And I think she turned 16 while she was on the road looking for him, and she realized that she did not want to go back to Georgia because of how they treated black people and how they treated Native American people, right? I should say that in Savannah or around Savannah, she was on a Native American reservation, actually, and the Klan came onto the reservation. So what she did was she walked and she hitchhiked all the way to Harlem, to New York City, at 16 years old. Now, most of us couldn't imagine walking down the block, or walking a mile or 5 miles. unless it's for exercise. But as for transportation, like she walked and hitchhiked and coach and buggies to get away from racism. To not be woken up in the middle of the night by strange men who were trying to kill you and burn your house down. That's war. My great-grandmother was a refugee in her own country. Think about that. That you had to leave because any given night somebody might just come by and kill you or rape you. That's real. That's what millions of people had to go through. So she finally got to New York and raised an incredible family there. She married a half black, half Irish guy named Felder. And they raised, I think 12, must have been like, I think 12 or 14 kids. It was crazy. And, you know, they have their stories and everything like that. But because America has this story that like, okay, yeah, you know what? If you work hard, you can do anything, and it can be this, right? My grandmother, my great grandmother, sorry, her name is Queen Esther. Amazing, right? She got a job cleaning the bathrooms at Ellis Island, Statue of Liberty, and that's what she did for, I don't know, since the time she was like 18 years old, 17 years old, until she was 90 something, I think, you know? And I'll never forget when she talked about that job, she talked about it with such love and appreciation, but she also knew that, you know, like she talked about the job with such love and appreciation because she would see the immigrant faces when they would get off the boat, tired and distraught and all these different things, and having run from their own refugee situations, having run from people who were trying to burn their houses down and people who were trying to kill them in the middle of the night in a different country, even though she went through the exact same thing in Georgia. And she would see these people that she has a kinship with, and part of her heart would be so open and so loving and just so hopeful for them, right? And share in their joy of this new dream of America. And then part of her heart was broken because she understood that as soon as they walked out of Ellis Island, they had a much better chance of being a full citizen than she ever did, and then that she ever would. Because she was black, because she was a woman. So we have a lot to repair in this country. You know, Kanye, my great-grandmother didn't have a choice to become a CEO. She didn't have a choice to become like a big musician or an actor or much more than that, than just be hopeful that something was going to be better for her kids, and something was going to be better for their kids, and something was going to be better for their kids. The same story that we have, that many of you guys have when your grandparents or your great-grandparents came over to Ellis Island. They may have met my great-grandmother. So that's one story that I can start with, and I hope that, you know, I can get you guys involved. Somebody asked the question, is there a lot of racist people in the States? There's a lot of people in the States, and I think that there's a lot of people who, you know, don't even realize that they are prejudiced. I think that we all are prejudiced in some way, shape, or form. Like, America's done a really good job at brainwashing people. You know, you turn on the news and you see how, you know, there's always black and brown people getting arrested, and that we're perpetuating violent crimes and so on and so forth. But crime comes from scarcity. Crime comes from not having enough. It doesn't come from, oh, I want to, you know what? I think if I go get a gun and I go off and commit a crime, that's a good life. That's not how people think. That's not how kids think. Kids think, I got to eat. And my mom is not doing well. And my dad I've never met my dad. And I got to feed these other kids. And all of my friends who are doing well are doing this kind of thing. And nobody in this neighborhood's getting an education. And so Crime comes from not having enough. It comes from scarcity. Most people are in jail because they didn't have anything. Not because they like crime, not because they're bad people, because they needed to eat or they wanted nice things, just the same way that everybody wants nice things. So in America, we really latch on to those stories of black and brown people committing these types of acts of desperation or what they are. And we act like that is the context in which we weave the moral fabric of this person, right? Or these people. And it's bullshit. It's absolute bullshit. Like, black and brown people are not any less. If you think that a black or a brown person has a lower moral fiber than you have to ask yourself why. That is a product of brainwashing. In fact, I'll be honest with you, I'm probably afraid of the same black and brown people you are. If you're afraid of them, let's be real. Let's talk about the bias. I want somebody to jump in on the bias because I grew up in the same America you did. I grew up watching the same TV shows, same movies, same newsreels that you did, and they made me afraid of this. And they made me afraid of this boogeyman, right? This boogeyman that doesn't really exist. And they put a face on it. And that face looks like my face. And so even the people who look like me sometimes, we'll look at each other like, oh, I hope he doesn't rob me. And there's something wrong with that. There's something wrong with that. You know, so that's hard to admit, but it's true. It's really true. It's not that I think that people are racist. I think that we have had a history of racism that we've never dealt with. And because we've never dealt with it, it becomes this sort of accepted form of bullying, right? Racism is the oldest form of bullying. Racism and sexism, both the oldest forms of bullying, right? All right, this keeps timing out because I'm in my music studio. I'm gonna come over here, go upstairs where I have better service. It's ridiculous. But I think what keeps happening is that, you know, we accept these certain forms of bullying because we just never dealt with them. And we don't look at them as bullying, but they are. So let's just be real about it. I would love to have somebody join in because I've been talking for 20 minutes and I feel like that's not the point of this. So where are we at? Does anybody want to join? Waiting for Sandy. Hey, how are you?
Hey, I'm good. I have a question for you,
Yeah.
actually. I noticed that a lot of the people that you hang with or your friends are Caucasian.
Right. I have
And
a varied group of friends. Yeah.
right. But do any of your friends or how do you explain to them that racist issues or concerns still exist? There are many white people that think that they are not real. Like they think it's a part
Right.
of our imagination that we are still discriminated against despite being murdered on TV and the news and that sort of thing. How do you explain to your
That's a
friends?
great question. Thank you, Sandy. I appreciate that. So I think there's two parts to that question. I think one, I think people did think that we were over exaggerating for a long time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Until we had Facebook Live, until we had social media, and people were like, oh, this is actually happening. Y'all aren't just being sensitive. No, we're not being sensitive. This is actually happening, and it happens every day. So what I tell I have open dialogues with my white friends all the time about racism, about sexism, about a lot of the issues that we have, but racism in particular. And what I tell them is like this: if you bring up something to me because I'm black, then you have to ask yourself why you're bringing it up to me, right? And they start to check themselves a little bit, and they go, okay. I go, so that makes you prejudicial about what you can talk to me about, right?
Right.
Cool. So now, if you're gonna change your conversation when you're around other people who look like you, then you got to think about that too.
Right.
And so, like, it's just putting this small thing in their head where you go, like, okay, so if you don't even know you're doing it, how can you tell somebody else it doesn't exist?
Right. And that's a common thing. Also, coworkers are really who I'm referencing to for myself, and that's why I ask, because sometimes I've been in the presence of white people, and they say things, and I think, do you think that's okay? But it lets me also know that these are the conversations they have when I'm not around, and it's so common. They just don't. I live in Mississippi, by the way. So,
oh wow, okay. So
yeah.
so you live in the 1970s,
right?
All right, but so, okay. Here's the thing. Because we're focused on how to make this better, right? So I think what you should say is like, look, when it's either a white friend I have, or even if it's a white acquaintance, or even if it's a white stranger, and they say something to me that's inappropriate, I don't let it slide. I go, that's racist, right? And I say it in a very just matter of fact, straightforward way, and then all of a sudden they get all up in arms and go, no, I'm not attacking you. I'm just letting you know that you sound racist. Like, if I sound sexist, Sandy, I expect you to tell me.
I will.
So that I don't walk around this world looking like a sexist asshole, unless I'm trying to be one, right?
Right.
So if you allow that awkward moment to be their problem, then it's not yours. We have to stop receiving the dysfunction.
Right.
So I can't, like, for instance, let's be real about it. If somebody's racist, it may not be their fault. However, to continue carrying it on with so much information and so much access to other cultures at this point in time is not only ignorant, it may be a mental dysfunction. So just because I don't see the same unicorns that you do doesn't mean there's something wrong with me. So, like, if you are like, oh my God, look at that unicorn taking a piss on that tree. I don't see it, bro. Look at that black person. He's not as good as a white person. I don't see it, bro. You sound crazy both times. And I'm going to let you know you sound crazy both times. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That's how I handle it. I don't allow racism to be my problem unless it's threatening me, right?
Right.
If it's awkward, that's your problem, and I'll let you know it's your problem.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
That's it.
So
thank you.
You're very, very welcome. I really appreciate the question. I'm gonna let somebody else ask one too, but we'll do this again. Okay. Thank you. All right. I'm adding somebody else. Guys, I really appreciate the participation. Thank you so much.
Hi.
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm amazing. Really well.
Ignore my fan in the background. It's crusty.
It's all good. You got to keep cool.
All right. So you have like 100 people on here. I'm not going to show my face if that's okay.
Do whatever makes you comfortable.
All right. So basically what I'm going to say, clearly I'm white. I'm being washed out by the light coming through my window. And I just want, because I'm not going to overstep my boundaries at all. I know where to not step. But I'm just going to say that, like, I grew up in a racist family. And it has been, like, growing up, I knew there's something wrong with it. And having to, like, actually unteach myself that. And, like, I did it myself. Like, growing up knowing, like, that's wrong. And, like, that kind of thing. It has been, like, a really big challenge to actually teach my family that, too. Because, like, they don't want to see that. And, like, I don't want to think that, like, my family is, like, bad. Because, like, to me, they'll never be because they're my family. It's that, like, it's the way they were, like, taught when they grew up. And it's, like, I live in Ohio. And, like, it is predominantly Republican. Like, it is so bad. And, like, for me to go and have to teach a grown adult these things that me, a 16-year-old, knows, it's like, it's kind of stressful, obviously, but like clearly I will never know anything about like the stress people of color face. But it's just that, like, I feel like, especially white people, since we are kind of, no, there's no kind of, we are like 100% more privileged. I feel like white people need to be stepping up a lot more and like actually doing their part to help the minority, to make them not a minority, because they should not be a minority at all. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. I'll tell you this though, your family's not bad. They're just misinformed.
Definitely misinformed.
Misinformed. And what you do with misinformation is, we have this problem in the world where we think being right gives us value. It doesn't. Actually, when you're wrong, you're more valuable. You know why? Because you're learning something.
Yeah.
Right. So like 2 minutes ago, I didn't know something. And then all of a sudden somebody tells me something. And if I fight them because no, being right is important, then I stay here. I stay right here. But if this person may have a point and I'm able to accept that point, I become this. And I become this. And then I become bigger and bigger and bigger. And it's only embarrassing for a moment, right? So
Yeah.
we've all been wrong about things. Your family's not bad. They're just misinformed, and they probably live in a place where these ideologies, not values, these ideologies are solidified by their peer groups. So it's something that we have to chip away at, and I think people like you. What's your name again?
Brandy.
Brandy?
Yeah.
People like you, Brandy, are part of the answer. And I thank you for that. I really, really appreciate that. That is really cool and awesome that you've gone against the ideology of what you've been taught and seen the world for what it truly is, a beautiful place with one tribe. And I'll tell you one thing, as a woman, you do sort of understand what people of color can go through.
Oh, definitely.
Because
it's not the same extent.
It's not the same. It's not the same. But for instance, when I walk down the street, depending on the neighborhood that I'm in, and I felt fear and insecurity for my person. I felt fear and insecurity for my body. I felt fear and insecurity for something that might be said to me. Women feel the same. Right?
Especially women of color. Like, I know it's bad for women anyway, but like women of color have it so, like, obviously worse.
Yeah. 100%. I'm not going to argue with you. I'm just saying, don't think that you can't correlate your own experience to another human being's experience, because we're different. We're both human beings and we both have the exact same feelings, is what I'm saying, okay?
Yeah.
All right. I love you. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. I'm going to get somebody else, okay?
Okay.
All right. Thank you. All right. Who's next? Let's go. Where you at? Katie. Thank you guys for all the, hey.
Hi.
How are you?
Good. What about you?
I'm great. Judging by your accent, you're from Ireland, Scotland?
Yeah, Ireland.
Ireland. I was right the first time. Okay. I should always go with my gut. Cool. And you have a question or comment, Katie?
Yeah, I was just wondering, the people you work with, are they all okay with it, or do some of them not accept you being a different color from them, or?
Oh, no. Everybody at Supergirl is amazing. The cast is like, we are family. We truly, like, I know I'm supposed to say that, but we truly are family. And we have a group text that's been going on since the pilot for 3 years. These are the best people I've ever met in my life. I could not ask for a better cast. I will say that, people, and there are other shows I've been on and other situations I've been in where things have been said or done, and not ever really to your face, but behind your back. And then you realize this has to be about their own racial bias, and it hurts. It really hurts. I mean, I think a lot of people think racism makes everybody angry, right? But I think that's the response that you get from being hurt so often. Like once you get hurt too often, you don't want to be a crybaby. So all of a sudden you go, well, that makes me angry, right? So yeah, that's a great question. But no, Supergirl's United Colors or Benetton. It's like it's paradise. It really is. That's your question?
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, Katie. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. Let's go to Troy. Trying to connect with you, Troy. So you need some advice. What's going on?
What's up?
Yo, what up, bro? How you doing?
What's up?
I'm doing really well. How are you?
I'm all right. My girlfriend just broke up with me a few seconds ago.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
It's all right.
Sorry to hear that.
I got a question for you.
Okay.
Is it hard to read your lines when you're on Supergirl?
No, it's not hard to read the lines. But hey, brother, I wish you luck with repairing your heart with the relationship, but I'm gonna take questions based on the subject, okay?
All right.
All right, man.
Have a good one.
You too. Hey guys, let's try to keep the questions based on the subject if we can. I'll do a different live when it comes to Supergirl or my music. Okay? Thank you. Waiting on Rohan. What do I think is a good age to discuss race with kids? I'm not a parent. I can't really give you advice on that. I can tell you a story while we're waiting on. I guess it's not going to happen. So I'll tell you a story. Somebody asked me a question here that said, what do you think is a good age to discuss race with kids? My first run-in with racism, I was 7 years old, but my brother and my cousins and I were playing hide and go seek, and the cops, came up on us and tried to arrest us, and I was too young to understand. 7 years old, didn't get it. Just was like, okay, thought we did something wrong. The first time I had a run-in with racism that I actually understood, I was 10. And I was a really good baseball player. And I was batting like .850. So if you guys know baseball, that's crazy, right? And it still hurts, frankly. I remember they were picking the All-Star team, and I went there. You had to go there, and my mom took me there, and we were reading the list of the players who made the All-Star team, and my name wasn't on the list. And my mom kept double checking the list and triple checking the list, and I started to feel really sad. And I knew I had made the All-Star team because I was like the best player in the league, and there was no way that I shouldn't have made the team. And I didn't. But all the players who made it were white. And my mom went up there, and I remember I sat outside, like throwing rocks at like the fence. And my mom went upstairs to the clubhouse at the baseball field, and my mom's no joke. She ripped him a new asshole, and I could hear her yelling and going crazy and the whole thing. Like, and she did it in a way that, looking back, like in retrospect, like they deserved it. And I remember I got in the car and we were leaving, And I was looking back at the clubhouse, and I was 10 years old, sitting in the back seat, and I was on my knees, like kind of like looking out the back window. And my mom was driving really slow, and I could see that she was really bothered, and I knew she just yelled at somebody, I mean, a bunch of men, and I said, "What happened?" And my mom, to her credit, the amazing woman she is, she looked in the rearview mirror at me, and she said, "Turn around." I turned around and looked at her, and she said, "I want you to know something. You did not make the all-star team because of the color of your skin. And some people have a problem with that. There's nothing wrong with the color of your skin. There never will be anything wrong with the color of your skin. But there are some people in this world that will have a problem with that." And I remember my gut reaction at 10 years old was I felt sorry for these old men. I felt sorry for adults that had to make a kid feel like shit because they had a problem with how the kid looked. And I remember I was like, wow, you must be pretty shitty if you're 40 something years old and have to bully a 10-year-old. You must be really hurting inside. And then so I asked her, I said, "Are they okay?" And she goes, "What do you mean, are they okay?" I was like, "Yeah, I mean, they must be hurting." And she was like, "You're weird." I'm like, "Yeah." But that was my first interaction with racism. And I think around 9, 10, 11 years old, it's just going to start hitting kids in our society. So I can't tell you how to be a parent because I'm not one yet, but I can tell you that that's when it hit me. So let me ask somebody else. All right. John Wallace, what's up? Someone's asking, have I ever wished to be a different race? No, I have not. One of my brothers said that when we were kids one time, though, and it really hurt us, and we were like, we were intrigued by it, but it wasn't his fault. Hey, how you doing? Hey.
Hi, I'm Kat. I'm from Scotland.
From Scotland. Hey, that's great. Thanks for staying awake.
Right, you were talking about slavery and the not being a choice. In UK recently, they have brought in a modern slavery bill to stop people from being enslaved in the modern day. There's been cases up in court saying, and people have been jailed for modern slavery, and it's not a choice. The people that they have been taking their passports off them. Their families have been threatened to be killed, and things like that. So they have to stay in modern slavery. It's not only 400 years ago, quite. It's happening now.
Yeah, it's human. It's profitable for humans to own other humans, and so I'm not sure if you caught the whole thing, but my point was, slavery is a choice for the people who are enslaving others.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, it's not a choice for the people who. Yeah.
No, they're frightened for their family, and these modern slaves, they're frightened for their family because they've been threatened to, they'll kill their children, their husbands, their wives, because they're in these kind of situations that they've had to go into modern slavery.
Yeah. And I'm sorry to hear that, but I think that if you guys are introducing a bill to abolish it, you're doing the right thing. And we applaud you guys for that. Thank you.
And I thought it's just to let you know that it's not only happened recently, it's probably happened in America as well.
Yeah.
There's people being enslaved in factories and picking like fruit, veg. It's going to be happening all over the world, and they're being trafficked into the countries.
Right. And it's
like, especially like Mexicans and things like that from them coming across the border from Mexico or Guatemala or wherever.
right.
There's going to be, these people are going to be enslaved.
Right. Right. And it's almost part of their payment process to get into a new country. And I thank you.
Yeah.
I thank you for bringing about awareness to that, and I look forward to you being a voice in Scotland about that. Okay.
Okay.
Let's be brave. Let's work this out together. It's all more love, and it's all one tribe, and we can't enslave each other, right?
Nope.
All right. I love you. Thank you.
Only enslave the head. You can only enslave the head, but you can't enslave the heart.
Right. I love that. Thank you so much for bringing that to our attention. Okay.
Okay. Bye.
Bye. Take care. Okay. I'm gonna add. Let's see here. Let's add. Let's add. All right. Trying to add some more people. Okay, the person declines. Let's go here. Aaron Black. Hey, what's up?
What's up?
How you doing?
Good. I'm just like,
All right, cool. That was fun. Also, guys, if I request to be added, just try to make sure that we can see you and that you're ready with a question or comment, because otherwise it's not really fair to others. So waiting on somebody right now. Hey, how you doing? Hello? Hello? Can you hear me? Hey, how are you? You there? All right, well, I'm gonna have to get off because I think it's not working. All right. All right, let's try this again. Molly, what's up? Let's go. Oh, this is interesting. I'm not sure if this is really working anymore. Not really sure what's happening here. I'm trying to add people, but it doesn't really seem to be working. I hope it's not my Wi-Fi again.
Hello.
Hey, hello.
Hi, how are you?
Good. Do you have a camera?
Am I showing up? Because it's
No.
showing up on my end. I'm sorry.
It's all good. I mean, I can hear you, so that's cool.
So I just wanted to just say that At my school, I go to a mostly Hispanic school, and I often have to deal with people giving me racist comments and stuff. And I just wanted to ask you your opinion. What would you do about that?
How does it make you feel when they say that kind of stuff to you?
It kind of angers me because at a school with the majority of minorities, it shouldn't be any racism at all.
Well, there shouldn't be any racism at all at any school, right?
Yes.
So do you feel like you're being bullied?
I feel like people are trying to use me as a joke and not taking my race and my culture seriously. But when it comes to like Hispanic Heritage Month, they want theirs to be like the most dominant part of the school.
So, but that sounds like you're being bullied, right?
Yes.
Right. Like, I mean, let's put it into the context of what it is. Like, if we keep calling it racism, then people can go, well, that's not racist.
You're right.
Because if somebody talks, like, I've had situations where I go, yo, somebody was really racist to me. And then somebody goes, well, what'd they say? Well, none of your business. It's none of your business what they
Exactly.
said. I felt offended. So it's not somebody else's determination of what racism is. So let's just call it what it is.
Yes.
Racism is bullying, right? So you feel bullied, right?
Yes.
Okay. So does your school have any sort of recourse if you're getting bullied? Can you go somewhere and talk to people about being bullied?
Yes.
Where do you go?
I go either to the deans or to the counselors.
So my brother, what's your name?
Jermaine Harris.
Jermaine, I highly suggest the next time somebody bullies you, you go to the dean or you go to the counselor and you say, I'm being bullied. And
I
then
understand.
they might ask you why or how. You say, because of this.
Mm-hmm.
And if they try to tell you that racism is not bullying, then you go above their head.
I feel you.
And you go to somebody who understands that those two things are the same thing. Because we can't allow this country
Exactly.
to move past the bullying conversation without including hurting your feelings. Right?
Yes.
Your feelings do
Thank you.
not deserve to be hurt.
And you're right. And I think I should not be taking crap from people, and I should go
No.
talk to someone and stop the problem.
Right. You don't have to fight them. You let the system fight them because it's not okay to be a bully, no matter what your reasoning is.
Mm-hmm.
Like if somebody was making fun of another kid's sexuality, another kid's weight, that wouldn't be okay, would it?
No.
Okay. So why is it okay to make fun of your skin?
Exactly.
Okay, brother. It's not.
Thank you so much for the advice, and
You're
I'll be
welcome.
sure to take it.
Thank you. I appreciate you
Bye.
listening. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks for sharing.
Thank you. Thank you for even accepting my request.
Of course. Thank you so much for being brave enough to share that with us. Thank you very, very much.
Bye.
Guys, send him some nice messages. Send him some nice messages to give him some support. All right. Waiting on Honey Beamer. I don't know. I don't know if it's my wife. Hey, how you doing? You okay? Can I hear you? Can you hear me? I think you're in a bad area. I can't hear you. I can see you, but I can't hear you. Ooh. Oh, there we go.
So here.
All right, can you hear me? Let's try again.
Yeah.
Do you have a question or a comment?
No, it's okay.
I'm not sure if you can hear me. All right, let's try again. Somebody else.
Hi, I know I joined earlier, but I had another question, if
Okay,
that's
go ahead.
okay. Because like,
Yeah,
if you don't want me to go again, I can like leave and let someone else do
it's
it.
fine. Go ahead, go ahead.
Okay, so I've heard a lot like the whole "I don't see color" thing, and I just want to know what you thought of that.
What I think about people claiming to be colorblind?
Yeah, I can't really say anything because I feel like I can't say anything because it's not my place to. So I definitely want to know what you have to say.
No. Let's be real here. It's everybody's place to have an opinion. Everybody's entitled to an opinion. Does it make your opinion right? Does it make it wrong? Does it make it informed? Does it make it uninformed? But everybody has the right to have an opinion. What do I think when people say that they're colorblind? I think that they mean well, and I think that. But the problem with being colorblind is that now you're missing out on all the good things about having a rich, diverse culture, right?
Yeah.
So, for instance, like not every stereotype is going to be true, and not every stereotype is going to be negative. But the thing about it is like, yes, when I see a person of a different race, I don't automatically assume anything about them, but many times there's a common thread of their culture that they've been raised with that happens to prevail, right? And it doesn't mean it's positive or negative, but I just think that if we don't see color at all, we're not going to fix this problem, right?
Yeah,
All
I feel
right.
like it's dismissive too.
But I think they're trying to be positive about a very difficult issue to talk about, and I don't think
Yeah.
it's a wrong way to look at it. I just think it's not true, and it's kind of lazy.
Me
Yeah.
too. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. You've
Thank
asked
you
great
for having
questions.
me
I really
again.
appreciate
Sorry.
it. No, you're great. Thank you.
Thank
You're
you.
great. All right. I almost put a dog filter on myself just now. Hold on. All right. Hey, what's up, brother? How you doing?
Hello, my name is Dan, and I'm from England. Uh, I just wanted to ask about like how racism is in America, because obviously I've never been to America, and it seems to me that because America is so, um, I mean, like hugely diverse, it seems to me that racism shouldn't be a problem, because like there's so many different cultures in America. And it's the same with England, but in England, I haven't experienced any racism at all. But obviously, there is racism in some places. But I'm just curious how that is. How that's happening. I just don't understand it.
Brother, it is mind-boggling. It is. I wake up every day baffled, amused, shocked, disheartened, fearful for my country, and appalled, frankly, sometimes by how we're able to treat each other. And it doesn't make sense. I have a theory about racism, especially in America. I think it could all go away in 10 years. All of it. I think it could all go away in 10 years because it's a very flimsy ideology. It's very new. To look at someone else and go, oh well, they're dumber than me, or their life is worth less than me. That's a very new idea that started with colonialism. That didn't happen. That didn't happen when I had to take a boat to your country and trade things with you because I had to be nice to you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is a very new idea. This is a very, very new idea that we can get past. It's just that we have to start talking about it and start being honest and open with each other and asking questions like you're asking and then taking the time to listen like you are. Like, this is how we fix this. This is exactly how we fix it. The strength of America has always been the diversity in our culture, right? It's not been the fact that we have to keep other cultures down or other classes down and prop up one, right? We have this weird zero-sum game perspective of society that if those that have been in power lose power, then that means they're going to get shit on now. Not true. It's not true. It's not true. It's not. Historically, it hasn't happened. Didn't happen in South Africa. It's people aren't vindictive intergenerationally like that. Like, you have to actually infringe upon my space and my rights and hurt me for me to be angry with you. If you hurt my grandmother before I was born and I didn't know about it, am I going to try to hurt your grandkid?
No, yeah, I understand.
No, this doesn't have to continue going. So, to answer your question, I don't know. I don't know, man. I wake up every day with the same question, like, why? Why? Because it seems really counterproductive and counterintuitive. And if, like, we all work together, we would figure out what we're really capable of as human beings, right? Like, we put a man on the moon in the 60s. That was cool. What have we done since then? Shoot missiles at each other?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, cool. Like, can we
It's
go
like
to
we're all
Mars?
going backwards.
Huh?
It's like we're going backwards in time. You know, we're all going. You know, we're becoming less understanding of each other.
Right. And I think social media is great in many ways if we use it correctly, but some of us are just using it to sort of solidify our own ideologies, right? Rather than opening ourselves up to other ideologies. And I think that we're living in a really, really incredible time, that we have the ability to look at the old ideas and use our technology to see if they hold up. So what that means is basically like this. Right now we have a society based on a bunch of ideas that we've had for a long time, right?
Yes.
Like, you were born into a society, you didn't vote on anything. The laws were there when you got there, the structure was there when you got there, the class systems were there when you got there, right?
True.
We have the ability now to decide if we want to continue that. Because we're all connected for the first time in the history of mankind. I'm talking to you live, and I'm in Vancouver. And
I'm in Newcastle.
And you're in the UK. And we're talking about some issues that you're talking about an issue that affects me, but that doesn't really affect you. And I appreciate it. It gives me goosebumps, man, because you give a shit and you care about something that affects my life. And you could not have asked me this question 25 years ago, 10 years ago. And so we are at the precipice of this incredible revolution where we can take our ideas and we can share them instantly. And I think once we start doing that, once we start doing it the right way, we stop talking about Kanye. We stop talking about this person's baby. We start talking about celebrity lifestyle. And we use this for what it's meant for. We're going to fix this, man. I appreciate you, brother. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your time. And your answer was, well, it wasn't really an answer, but it was still helpful.
I mean,